Today, Mao's birthplace is merely a tourist attraction for local people and the military. It is visited infrequently. For all practical purposes, Mao has been totally downgraded. Though literally hundreds of millions of little red books were printed, they are nowhere to be seen. What role does Maoism play in China today? Will the events in Tiananmen change this role? Across the ravine stands the house of Mao's late cousin. Today, it is the site of Chez Mao, a private restaurant owned and operated by his cousin's widow. One of the now rarely displayed portraits of Mao graces the restaurant wall. When asked what Mao would say if he saw this restaurant, the proprietor said,
"If President Mao were alive now, I'm sure that he would support us. We are really working based on his ideas. Without the late president, we wouldn't have today's China. In this restaurant, we receive customers and friends like you. President Mao would be glad to see this."
One of the few remaining statues of Mao can be seen in front of the Wuhan iron mill. Of course, his portrait still dominates Tiananmen Square. In October 1989, we were one of the first foreign crews to film at Tiananmen, the site of the June 4th student rebellion and massacre, where the world learned of the student democracy movement. It was still under military control. This square, the largest in the world, was witness to the terrible bloodletting of students who were demanding more freedom and more democracy. On the other side, the government called the protests counter-revolutionary, the students obstructionists and hooligans. The massacre was called the turmoil, as the government sought to rewrite history. They wanted the events of Tiananmen forgotten as quickly as possible. While we filmed, tourists with special permission were allowed to visit the square and to enter Mao's mausoleum. Following our visit in 1989, we concluded that the Maoism of 1971, like the man in the mausoleum, was dead. His quotations did not help production, did not improve education, did not prevent starvation, did not restore speech or hearing. Mao's vision for China had failed. Tiananmen allowed a coalition of hard-line leaders to bring back the heavy hand of state repression, to crush dissent with fear. The hold of the hardliners, though firm today, is tenuous. One can only hope that the period of openness and reform has left a mark on China that the current repressions cannot erase. If it were 1971, these children would be singing "The East is Red," "The sun rises in the East," and Chairman Mao is the son who leads the revolution. Today, after a decade of openness, they sing the anthem of the children of the world. Does China's destiny lie between the hopes and aspirations of these singing children and the loyalties of these marching troops? For the future, China must find its own solutions to its problems. It is clear, however, that in today's changing world, China can no longer be isolated as it was before.
如果干了幸福，你就跟着要。如果干了